Good morning. We're in the record. Good morning. As chairperson of the Alcoholic Beverage and Cannabis Board for the District of Columbia, and in accordance with DC Code Section 2571 et seq. Of the Open Meetings Act (OMA), I am welcoming you to the regular scheduled meeting of the Alcoholic Beverage and Cannabis Board. This meeting is being conducted pursuant to guidance made available by the District of Columbia's Office of Open Government regarding electronic meetings held by public bodies. Electronic meetings by the ABC Board are authorized pursuant to Section 2577A of the DC Code. Pursuant to the OMA requirements, notice of today's meeting was provided 48 hours in advance of the meeting on ABCA's website and on the District Central meeting calendar. The notice includes the time, date, agenda, and call-in or login information for public participation. This electronic meeting is being hosted by a WebEx account provided by the District of Columbia government. Please address any questions or complaints to the OOG at opengovoffice@dc.gov. My name is Donovan Anderson. I'm chairperson of the board. I would like to introduce the other members of the ABC board who are also participating electronically. Please respond when I announce your names. Mr. James Short.
Mr. James Short, present.
Mr. Silas Grant.
Mr. Silas Grant, present.
The board has 3 members in attendance for the conduct of business today, and that constitutes a quorum. Before we get underway with today's hearing calendar, I need to make a few instructions very clear so that the conduct of these hearings is understood by everyone. There are 2 cases scheduled for our calendar today. Once your case is called, I will take a moment for IT specialists to elevate the rights for each party to enable their camera and microphones. Then and only then will you have the ability to enable your equipment. If your case has not been heard, you will remain mute and your camera will be disabled. At the conclusion of each case, the parties will have the option to leave. If the party chooses to stay, all cameras and microphones for the concluded case will be disabled. Should you have any questions or require technical assistance during the hearing, please submit them using the question and answer feature. All right. Our first case this morning is a cease and desist, this is a cease and desist hearing. It's case number 24 ULC 00011, Metro Art and Sculpt Collab LLC. Good morning, Mr. Charles. Can you please elevate the rights of the parties in this case?
Good morning.
Yes, hold on 1 minute, please, sir. I believe I'm waiting for Mr. Investigator Peru.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Every person for the case that's in the chat has been elevated.
Hold on. I will still need Investigator Peru. We need to find him.
Jason Peru has been elevated to the chair.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everyone. This is a cease and desist hearing regarding Metro Art and Sculpt collab, and this is a request for an expedited hearing pursuant to Board Order number 2024-592. And so let me start with the individual who requested the hearing, Mr. I see a Mr. Zoe, Mr. Porter. So, Mr. Porter, can you please spell and state your name for the record and your relationship to this establishment?
My name is Jonathan Porter, Jonathan Porter, Porter. I am the owner of the establishment.
Mr. Zoe, can you please spell and state your name for the record, sir, and your relationship? Hello? Sir, I'm waiting for you. Mr. Porter, can you text him to let him know I can see him? I'm waiting for him to say something.
Sure. Hold on 1 second, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think my connection just lost a little bit. Did I miss something?
I've been waiting for you the entire time, sir. All I'm waiting for you
Sorry.
to spell and state your name for the record and your relationship to.
Oh, I'm so
this
sorry.
case.
I just got reconnected. Yeah, my name is Yutong Zhou. Yutong Zhou. I'm the counsel for MASC and Mr. Porter.
Okay. I'm sorry, you're the counsel, so you're representing. I was just wondering, so who do you represent? The establishment.
The establishment and Mr. Porter as well.
So is there a difference between the establishment and Mr. Porter? I'm asking, so I'm.
Right. I mean, the establishment is its own person for purpose of it's this business entity.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you represent the business entity and you also represent Mr. Porter as the owner of the business entity. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah.
All right. Mr. Peru, please spell and state your name for the record.
Supervisory Investigator Jason Peru, JASON PERU.
All right. Mr. Hold on a minute, please. All right, I think I pronounced your name right the first time. Say it one more time for me, sir. Your last name.
Joe, like Joe. You can just.
Okay, Mr. Joe. All right, so you requested this hearing on behalf of your client. So let us know, why is it that you are requesting that the board lift its cease and desist order, sir?
Yes, I mainly request the hearing to dispute the fact finding contained in the cease and desist order, and the main point of this is to just to question Mr. Peru, the witness, for certain findings that he made in the findings of fact portion of the order.
Well, I mean, I guess the bottom line is that you request a hearing, so you need to tell us why is it, and then where you are in offense, we are in defense. The agency would be in defense. So you requested the hearing, so you did not. You didn't. The board has Mr. Peru as a witness. To if the board has questions of him that the board will raise, will ask Mr. Peru of questions. You did not demand that Mr. Peru appear here today to testify, so therefore he's not your witness to call. So if the board doesn't call him as a witness, I'm not, unless you had requested him as a witness so you can call him to question him, sir.
All right, but I think this is the order initiated by the board and initiated by ABCA. In these kind of contested cases, according to DC Administrative Procedure Act, I think the board, I mean, it's kind of weird here. So who exactly is the prosecutor, who's the plaintiff, has the burden of proof to say, like, we are engaging in certain activities?
Hold on. All right. We're an independent agency, so we do not. Hold on. So we're this. Give me 1 minute, sir.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Well, we're not the Office of Administrative Hearings, so this is a separate process.
Mhm.
I'm aware that we do follow the APA, so but this is not the Office of Administrative Hearings. It's a separate office. Do you have any independent evidence independent of Mr. Peru to contest what's in his findings and fact? I mean, of course, if the board at some point will contact him, will call him to defend his report, but you requested this hearing, sir. So if you requested this hearing, you need to put your evidence on to say why is it that you're disputing what's already in the record, what's in our case report. So you need to put evidence in the record to dispute the findings of Mr. Peru. The board will call Mr. Peru and ask some questions of him, and then you can cross-examine him. You'll have the ability to cross-examine him, but because you requested this hearing, you did not compel the attendance of Mr. Peru to say that he's your witness, and so therefore you can call him and you can cross-examine him and do whatever. We're here. Because if the board doesn't call him as a witness, there's no witness for you to cross-examine. So you tell me where we want to go from there.
Okay, if this is the case, I say according to DC Administrative Procedure Act, Section 509, I will submit through counsel the oral evidence right now. So essentially, the two things I mainly want to dispute is that in the fact finding number 3, it says on July 23rd, ISI Peru returned to the premises for following up inspection.
Hold on. Give me 1 minute, please. Let me see if I can find what you're reading from so I can follow along. So hold on 1 minute, please, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're reading from the cease and desist order that the board issued on. The board issued on. Let me see, what date was this? On July 24th. That's the one. The 31st of July. Is that what you're reading from?
Yes.
So tell me where you are, sir. Where are you reading now?
In findings of fact, line item number 3.
Okay. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Yes. So for I was reading that ISI Peru returned to the premises for a follow-up inspection. Insect found that the establishment was continuing to sell cannabis products containing THC. For example, blah blah. I'm disputing the fact that Mr. Peru actually found any THC products, and our defense is that Mr. Peru did not possess enough knowledge or expertise to determine the content of the quote green litter jar. And furthermore, we're disputing the next several lines too. It says another photo shows a lollipop called Dum Dums, mimicking a well-known and similarly named brand of candy. The label states that the product contains marijuana, a Schedule 1 controlled substance. We're disputing this fact that Mr. Peru actually did not examine the packaging, and actually there was not even a lollipop in the package. And also, we're disputing the legal conclusion that somehow found its way into findings of fact that there's no indication that the products being displayed for sale conform with Chapter 16B and associated regulations, manufacturing, testing, labeling, and packaging requirements. And in the end, we also dispute the finding that there's no indication in applicant's records that 1528 U Street has been issued any license. And also, the finding that applicant's records show that there's no pending application for the location. And we actually did not file an application in the 924 5th Street Northwest. These are the facts that I'm disputing.
I'm sorry. So you're saying when was an application filed?
We filed an application, let's see, it was April 30th. April 30th.
And what type of application was filed? April 30th, 2024?
Yes, April 30th, 2024. It was a social equity application with the landlord affidavit attached to the application with the location of 1528 U Street Northwest, DC.
And did you receive and did the applicant receive a license from the agency?
We received this. So here's kind of the problem is that even though we submitted the location, we were issued a conditional license number 128717, and it was Ms. Clough who processed our application.
So you're saying that a conditional license was issued?
A conditional license, I think, was wrongly issued because we actually applied with the location.
All right. But what is the location that was visited by Mr. Peru?
It was 1528 U Street Northwest, the same location with the landlord affidavit we provided.
1528 U Street
Northwest.
Northwest. And a conditional license was issued for what address?
Well, we actually didn't apply for the conditional. We applied for normal license with the location, and we even submitted landlord affidavit. But on August 30th, we were issued a conditional license.
For what address?
I'm sorry?
You were issued a conditional. You were issued a conditional license. So a conditional license, it's my understanding, if you're issued a conditional license, it's stating that you did not have a location.
Well, yes, Mr. Anderson, conditional license are issued to license holders who do not have locations.
But did you? I'm sorry. So you applied on an application was filed on April 20th. Tell me what type of application was filed on April 20th, 2024.
April 30th.
April 30th, 2024. What type of license was applied for?
Right, we applied for standard social equity.
A standard social equity, all right?
Yeah.
And the address was 1528 U Street Northwest. That was the address that was applied for in your application. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you're saying that on August, what date?
August 30th, 2024.
You received a conditional license?
Yes.
And what address was listed in the conditional license?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Was it stated that there was an address, or was it stated that there was no address?
It was stated that the location TBD, so there's no address.
So August 30th. So when did someone contact the agency to say, oh, by the way, this is a wrong license was issued because we do have a location, so it should not be a conditional license. It's a standard license should have been issued.
Yeah, Mr. Porter did.
And what response did Mr. Porter receive from the agency?
I don't think Mr. Porter received a response yet.
August, when did Mr. Porter contact the agency?
I don't have the exact with me.
Mr. Porter is there. Will Mr. You represent Mr. Porter. You can either have him answer the question if he can, or you answer the question since Mr. Porter is here. I'm sorry.
Am I on mute?
You can speak, sir. If you need to, if you're going to speak, just identify yourself for the record. If you're going to speak, sir.
My name is Jonathan Porter, and I'm just pulling up the emails right now. If you give me 1 second. So the last email I received was from Nichelle Clough. That was on August 30th, saying that I received September 16th was the last email I received from Nichelle Clough.
Hold on 1 minute, please. Hold on 1 minute. Mr. Porter, let me have you raise your right hand, please.
Maybe.
I'm gonna put you under
do what?
I'm gonna put you under oath, sir, since you're testifying.
I need to ask my attorney, is he okay with that?
No.
All right, well, no.
So you don't want to?
No.
You don't. I don't want to swear you in. So therefore, these are all right. So
yeah, Mr. Porter will now take the stand today.
All right. Hold on. Okay. All right. All right. I guess at this point you're still presenting your opening. Okay. Your defense, sir. Did you provide us any documents? Okay. You're contesting the cease and desist.
Mhm.
Did you provide any documents to the agency in this particular case to support your position, in the sense that you've stated that to basically stated that we applied for a license on April 30th, and you provide us a copy of the whatever you applied for. Did you provide us with this also a copy to say that you receive a response from the agency to say that you receive a conditional license for the same address? Did you also provide us the response, provide the agency to say, oh, by the way, I applied for a standard license because I do have a location, and so therefore you need to issue a standard license application for this address? Did you provide any documentation to the agency to support your position for this hearing today, sir?
No, but the DC Administrative Act, DC Code Section 2509 states that every party shall have the right to present in person or by counsel in case or defense by oral and documentary evidence. So I'm submitting this evidence by oral or evidence in front of you. And also, in addition, there was no invitation to submit evidence by me from the agency as the normal practice for agency. I received no notice of that.
But
I still like to further submit evidence through oral evidence in compliance.
Hold on, Mr. Joe. You're an attorney. As an attorney, you can present evidence. You cannot produce oral evidence. You have to provide. You can make representation as an attorney. That's one of the reasons why, because you're not providing me the documents. You have the witness, and so therefore that's why I was swearing in the witness, so the witness can testify to say this. But as an attorney, all you can do is make representation, sir. You can't testify.
So, Mr. Anderson, are you saying DC ABCA and the ABC board is exempt from the DC Administrative Procedure Act?
I'm not. That's not what I'm saying, sir. I'm saying
Well,
you're
the DC Administrative Procedure Act states clearly that, I quote again, every party shall have the right to present in person or by counsel his case or defense by
yes,
oral and documentary evidence.
you are right, Mr. Of course, you can provide, but an attorney cannot testify.
I'm
That's
not
all I'm saying.
testifying.
I'm sorry.
I'm not testifying. I'm just stating like why I request a hearing, why we're disputing these facts.
And that's fine. And you can. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that. What I'd ask you is that you're making certain representations, and I'd ask you, do you have the documentary evidence to support the representation that you're making? And so, if you have the documentary evidence, I can ask you to provide those to the agency, to our legal office immediately. I can take a break, so so the legal office can share it with the board, and so I can look at the documentary evidence that you have. You haven't provided the documentary evidence, so therefore you have a witness, and so the witness wants to testify about the documentary evidence, and I said, okay, let me swear the witness in, and you said no, the witness cannot. You're not going to allow. Right, and so you're not even allowing me to have the witness on the stand for me to swear him in, for him to verify the document. So you're not providing me the documentary evidence. Okay, you're making the allegations, and I said, okay, provide if you have the documents, provide me the documents. I'm fine with them, but because you don't have the documents and you have the witness, and I said, okay, fine. The witness can provide the information. Let me swear the witness in. And you're telling me that, no, I can't swear the witness in. So therefore, because I can't swear the witness in, then these are just unsubstantiated information you're provided. I don't have a problem, sir, as an attorney, for you to make representations on behalf of your client. You can do that. That's fine. But I'm aware, and you're aware, that's not evidence. These are just representation. Evidence is either a witness testified under oath, or you're providing me documents that we can both look at, and then I can cross-examine. Then I will ask your if once you provide these documents, then I can ask questions of the witness regarding the documents, and that's all I'm asking. I don't have a problem, sir. I'm aware with the APA. We follow the rules and regulations here, but you can make, as an attorney, you can represent, you can make, you can, but an attorney can't testify unless you take the attorney hat off. I swear you in, then you testify, and that's all. That's the only difference I'm making, sir. You can make as many representations as you want today, but they're just representations. It's not testimony.
Yeah, I can submit the documents.
So if you want me, so if you have the documents, I can have you email the documents right now to our legal office. I'll get the email address. Can someone write the email address in the chat for ABRA Legal, so the attorney can send the documents in, and then make that available to the board so we can review them. I'm sorry. What is the email address for ABRA Legal, please? Hold on. You can email them, sir, to ABCA, abca.legal@dc.gov. You can also send a copy to Jonathan Berman at DC.
Okay.
You can also send those. You can send it to him also. To send it to those email address, it will submit to the board. I'll receive them as soon as you send them, and I can review them, and then we can move forward from there, sir. While we're
Please give me
while,
one
while
moment.
we're waiting, sir, I guess the bottom line is that um so you're saying that you disputed. Okay, so are you done with your presentation?
Give me one moment. We'll just wait until I send over the
Okay, all right,
document, please. Thank you so much.
okay, all right, fine. Let me know when the documents have been sent, sir.
I will. I will.
Do you want us? We can go off the record for it's 10:42, but until 10:50. Do you want us to do that?
Just please give another 5 minutes. We can probably figure this out.
No, that's what I'm saying. We can. So this is what we'll do. It's 10:42.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's
It's
do that. Thank you.
10:42. We'll be off the record until 10:50. All you need to do just mute your phone and turn your video off. So we are off. We're off the record until 10:50. Okay. All right.
All right.
You can ask me to talk if you want to.
Let me ask him, can I have you talk instead of me?
All right, we're back in the record. All right, we're back in the, Mr. Joe, have you submitted the document? Mr. Joe,
He said yes.
I didn't.
Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
I can hear you now, sir. Did you submit the document, sir?
Yes, yes.
All right, hold on. All right, so the agency told me that they received the document, so let me wait for the documents to be forwarded, and then we can have. Okay, hold on. Let me forward them to another computer so I can review them, so we can talk about it while I'm online.
Also, Mr. Anderson, Mr. Porter would like to take the stand.
That's your call, sir. You don't have to. That is your call, sir. You can call if you want to call him as a witness, as you know, if he's going to testify. I'm going to swear him in, but that is your call if you want to call him as a witness. There's no requirement for you to do that. I was just saying that because we're talking about documents that were not in evidence, and so, all right. All right. So I received the letter. So the letter says to Mr. Porter. It was addressed to Mr. Porter at 1528 U Street Northwest Suite 1, and it was stated on August 14th, the Alcohol Beverage and Cannabis Board approved the application for a conditional license. A conditional license was granted for 1 year because no location was because there was no location identified in the application. And it basically says a conditional license does not permit you to purchase, possess, cultivate, manufacture, or sell medical cannabis products. All right, so you're correct. You want to correct the cease and desist to say that there was no. Let me see. When was this? Okay, so this letter was. Hold on. Let me see something. Let me go back to the application. So go ahead, sir. So tell me what else. You're making representations, and you say you want to call a witness. So tell me where we at.
Yeah, so we applied for this condition. We didn't apply for conditional license in the beginning because one of the other document I sent over is a landlord affidavit signed May 8th, 2024 to support the application. And that one was for secure the location of 1528 U Street Northwest. And yes, I would like to call Mr. Porter.
All right, do you want to call him now?
Yeah.
Mr. Porter, can you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth? I can't hear you, sir. You're on mute. You are on mute. I can see your mouth moving, but I can't hear.
Yes, I had to unmute it. I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead, sir. Go ahead. It's your witness, sir.
Yeah, so Mr. Porter, you did apply for the you did apply with ABCA, file an application with ABCA with the location of 1528 U Street Northwest, right?
Yes, and I submitted the landlord affidavit signed by my landlord, John Soliotis.
But it seems that Ms. Clough made the mistake as to the status of the application.
Yes, I believe that we had originally applied for this license, like we said, on April 30th, and I didn't receive confirmation about even receiving this license until August, whatever that last email says in August. I got COVID the following week, which is why we had to reschedule this hearing. And I didn't respond to Mrs. Clough because I knew we were going to have this meeting right here. Is what I knew we were having a hearing right here for this response right here. Now I amazingly received this conditional license a couple days after Mr. Peru revisited. So this is where we are.
Yes, and also in the cease and desist order, the order mentioned 924 5th Street Northwest. You did not apply for a license at that location, correct?
No, sir. And as a matter of fact, on the actual MCP facility application, it states that the time created at 5:28 at 9:54 p.m., I applied for a social equity license. The business address stated on that application right here, 1528 U Street Northwest. Current license class, none, new applicant is what was sent from you guys.
And also the mention of 924 5th Street Northwest caused a lot of confusion to you, I presume, and that perhaps can explain why there was no contact made directly between you and Michelle Clough before this hearing, so that you can resolve at a later date. Mr. Porter?
Yes, I agree with that statement.
I'm sorry. What statement did you agree with, sir?
I agree with the statement, the fact that I submitted this information and I did not receive the information back until August 30th. And I was confused because I don't, this whole entire process is a confusing endeavor, just to say the least. The information that's provided from Mr. Peru is contradictory to the information provided by Michelle Clough. Although you guys are all in the same group ABCA over here, I'm just the only business owner trying to navigate this process.
Mr. Porter, to continue, did Mr. Peru ever tell you that applying for a license will get MAIC out of trouble?
Yes, that was his initial first statement upon arriving to our business, to my business manager, that all we need to do is
Mr. Porter, hold on 1 minute. The court reporter cannot hear someone. I'm not sure who the court reporter cannot hear. Who is it that you cannot hear? Hold on, just hold on, please. The court reporter put something in the chat to say. Hold on, please. I need the court reporter to tell me what's going on. I just see the court reporter said, please stop. So just hold on. All right. Okay. The court reporter is now back on board. So I apologize, Mr. Porter. So if Mr. Joe, if you need to repeat the question to him, maybe you can do that, please. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. So, Mr. Porter, did Mr. Peru tell you that applying for a license will get your business out of trouble on his during his visit on April 25th, 2024?
Yes, that was the immediate, yes.
And did Mr. Peru visit again July 23rd, 2024?
Yes.
Okay, that's my question.
Okay, so Mr. Porter, so you're saying you never contacted the agency to said that they made an error in the type of license that was issued to you. Is that correct, sir?
Well, I was confused by the police.
No, I'm asking a different question, sir. I'm asking about the application. You stated that you applied. You stated that you applied, and you applied on April 30th for the license. That's what you told me. Is that correct?
Yes,
And
sir.
then you're saying on you gotta did you ever once you got the conditional license application approval from our agency, did you ever share with Mr. Peru that you had a conditional license application from the agency? Did you ever share that with Mr. Peru?
Yes.
When did you share that with Mr. Peru?
When he talked to me the second time when he came in July.
And what did you tell?
When he showed up in July.
And what did you share with Mr. Peru, sir?
That I applied for a license.
For that address or for a different address?
I didn't say any address. I told him that I applied for the license that he said that we needed to apply for. Now I assumed that the license was at the address of record because the documentation from you guys states that address on there.
All right. So when did you find out that the license when did you notice that? I guess the bottom line is that, do you know what a conditional license is, sir? Do you know what type of license was granted to you?
No, I haven't been able to look up the information yet. You just issued it 2 weeks ago on August 19th. Like, I mean, I've had time to find out what this is. I've been sick.
That's a month ago, sir. August 19th is a month ago. I apologize, sir.
It was issued on August 30th, if you really want to be specific on when it was issued. It was issued August 30th, and today is 2 weeks ago, approximately.
All right. So you have not, it's correct that you have not contacted anyone in the agency to say that it's the wrong type of license was granted to you. Is that correct?
No, not in the 2 weeks that I received it. No, I knew I
Okay.
had a hearing coming up.
I guess let me ask you a question, sir. Even if you applied for a license, and I'm not saying whether or not you were actually selling products. I'm not going to go there. So what does it mean to apply for a license? Does that mean that you can sell? Let me ask you a question. Why did you apply for a cannabis license?
I'm not answering those questions. I
You
plead the
applied for a
fifth.
license, sir. What? All right. You applied for a license. I'm just asking, why did you
What
apply for a
difference
license?
does it make why I apply for a license? I might have wanted a license. It doesn't make any difference why I apply for a license.
Is it correct that you applied for a medical cannabis license because you want to legally sell cannabis in the District of Columbia, sir? Is that the reason why you applied for a license, sir?
Do I need to answer that question?
You don't have to answer any questions you don't want to answer, sir. You can say, I'm not
I don't
answering the
wanna answer
question.
the question. I don't
I
want to
can,
answer the question.
I'm sorry, sir.
I don't want to answer that question.
All right, that's fine. There was when you receive the conditional license, the conditional license says that you cannot, and one of the things that you could say, sir, you can also state that I plead the fifth. That doesn't mean anything. That's something that you have that right to state, sir. So I don't have a problem with that. It's not taken it's not taken positive or negatively. That is your right. It's a constitutional right that you have, and I have to respect that right if I ask a question and you do not answer it. And so I'm fine with that, sir. Let me see.
I'm only going to invoke the fifth to specific questions. I'm only going to answer specific questions that I deem I need to answer.
And that is your right, sir. I don't have a problem with that. So that's why I don't have a problem with that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I'm acknowledging that you do have that right, and I'm fine with that. Okay, that's all. All right.
We all have that right. Thank you.
Okay. All right. This is an administrative hearing. Okay. This is not a court of law. This is an administrative hearing, so it's a little bit different, but you still have those constitutional rights, sir. All right. Hold on. Let me see if hold on. Let me ask you. Let me ask you a question, sir. Do you admit that you were operating on unlicensed establishment?
I'm not answering any question. I'm not answering a question. I plead the fifth.
Okay, fine. Do you admit that the products observed were cannabis when Mr. Peru visited in April and July 24? In April and July?
I plead the fifth.
What was your business model? Tell me in April and July. Just what products were you selling what products were you selling when you were operating your business at 1528 U Street Northwest?
We sell artwork. We're an art gallery.
And so I'm sorry, I apologize, sir. Go ahead.
And art and statues and all kinds of different things.
And so you make money by selling art? Is that your position, sir?
That's one of the avenues, yes, sir.
Okay. So let me ask it. So what is You stated that you were not selling cannabis in your business. Is that correct?
I plead the fifth.
Okay.
Sir, I thought we were asking me questions about the application.
Well,
Not for the application.
unfortunately, Mr. Porter, when you're on the stand, I can ask you any questions I want to answer, and you can elect not to, answer them, sir, and that's fine. So you can't tell me that I can only ask you certain questions, but you can elect not to answer, and that's fine.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Now, who's the landlord of your business of 1528 of 1528 U Street Northwest?
John Soliotis, is who I believe is the owner.
Can you spell the name and it's for the court reporter? That's why. Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure how to spell. I know his first name is spelled Jon. Soliotis. I can't spell that. I'm sorry.
All right.
I don't.
That's
I can spell that.
Oh,
I can tell you just help here. John's is John, and the last name is Souliotis.
Thank you, Mr. Joe. All right. Um, now, are you the one, Mr. Who owns the lease for the property?
I own the lease.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
I'm leasing. I don't own the property.
No, I said who owns the lease. So, is it Jonathan Porter who signs the lease, or is it the entity? That's what I'm trying to find out.
It was me that signed the lease, Jonathan Porter.
So Jonathan Porter is the person who owns the lease, who signed the lease. Okay. Do you know, sir, it wasn't that your landlord is aware of this action that's going on today?
I'm not sure if he's aware. I'm sure he's been served papers, but I'm not 100% sure where what he knows or not, sir.
So has your landlord, to the best of your knowledge and recollection, has your landlord filed any action in landlord-tenant court against your business or yourself?
My landlord has sent me a cease and desist as well based on Mr. Peru's.
Okay. So what's your business intent going forward after today, sir?
Well, I have to establish what's going on with the city right now. I don't know if I have a business in the city anymore.
So, do you continue? Is it your intent to continue to selling whatever the products that you have been selling in your business? Is it your intent to move forward with those sales?
Yes, sir.
Well, I guess one of the problems that I have, and Mr. Peru in his report stated that he saw, I think your attorney had contested some of the factual assertions that Mr. Peru had raised, because Mr. Peru, I think, stated that he saw lollipops and he saw products that says that there were THC, and so you're saying that you don't sell cannabis in your establishment. So why is it that Mr. Peru would state that he observed cannabis or products advertising cannabis at 1528 U Street?
You have Mr. Peru right there on the bottom right corner. You can ask him, sir.
I'm going to ask him, sir, but I have you, and it's your business.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Okay. And you don't know why Mr. Peru would state that the packaging that he saw in your business, that it indicates that cannabis was being sold in your property?
I don't know anything about what was going on in Mr. Peru's head, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's fine, sir. Are you by yourself Are you by yourself in the room, sir? That you currently are? Are you by yourself? Or is there someone else there with you?
I don't have to answer any question. Why are you worried about what's going on over here, sir?
All right, Mr. Porter. Um, Give me a. All right. Let me see. I think one of the questions there, so I just want to make sure that when someone testifies that they're testifying, they're given this is their testimony, and that someone else is not prompting them to say how they should answer a question. Because even if we were in court and your attorney was there, um, your attorney can't tell you how to answer a question. You would have to answer, and your attorney would make especially when your attorney would make representations for you. That's one of the reasons why I asked the question, sir. All right. Are there any questions that any other board member wishes to ask Mr. Porter? All right. Hearing none. Mr. Joe, in light of the questions I asked, do you have any redirect of your witness, sir?
No.
Mr. Joe, you provided us the documents you provided to us. Are you submitting those documents as evidence that should be part of the evidence presented in this case?
Yes.
All right. All right. Okay. And so, and I guess the documents, the application that was submitted. So, are you saying that the documents that were the documents that were provided, that is it an incorrect? Did the document provide the incorrect information, or did the agency misinterpret what was on the document? Which one are you stating? Because since your client stated that he applied for a standard license, the agency responded with a conditional license. So are you saying that the error that was made, was it an error made by your client when they submit the application, or was the error made by the agency when they reviewed the application submitted?
I believe the error was made by the agency because in the application, as I submitted this evidence too, that we included landlord affidavit. That's you only submit a signed landlord affidavit while filing a standard application. You don't need that while filing a conditional license.
Okay, and the landlord affidavit that was submitted, it had the 1528 U Street address. Is that correct?
Let me double check.
Excuse me.
Yes, it does.
It does? All right. Okay. We will look at that. All right. Is there any other presentation? I'll give you an opportunity to close later on, but at this juncture, is there any other direct evidence that you want to provide, sir?
Let's see. I think I'll just close. I'll just reiterate my presentation once more.
Yeah, you'll have an opportunity to close. All right. So let me ask. I'm going to call Supervisor Investigator Peru. Mr. Peru, can you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Peru, what is your where do you currently employ?
I'm employed at the Alcohol, Beverage, and Cannabis Administration, ABCA, as a supervisory investigator.
And so, what does that mean? You're a supervisory investigator, sir.
I manage a team of alcohol investigators, and those responsibilities that come with it. And I also conduct inspections of licensed and unlicensed cannabis locations in the District of Columbia.
All right, so we have a hearing today on Metro Art and Sculpt Collaborative at 1528 U Street Northwest. Are you familiar with this establishment, sir?
Yes, sir, I am.
How did you become familiar with um, this establishment?
It was on my list of unlicensed locations operating in the District of Columbia, and I visited the location with the Cannabis Task Force.
And how many times did you visit this location, sir?
I went to that location on numerous occasions. First time I visit was to issue a warning.
So when was the first time you visited?
Yeah, Chairman, you mind if I can just go down the list of a timeline so that
Yes.
everything can be cleared on the record, sir?
Yeah, that's fine. Yes.
Okay, so on April 25th, I first visited the location.
I need you to put in the record what specific location that you visited, sir.
I'm sorry, sir.
Okay.
On April 25th, I visited Metro Arts and Sculpture Collab / MASCS DC Weed at 1528 U Street Northwest with the Multi-Agency Cannabis Task Force, which includes members of DLCP, Department of Licensing and Consumer Protection, members of Department of Health, DOH, and with MPD. We visited the location, and upon entering the establishment, we spoke with the manager, who was very cooperative during all my visits, and I issued a warning for the business selling cannabis and cannabis products without a license. During the warning, like I tell all businesses that I'm issuing the warning to, the warning letter states that you have 14 days to come into compliance. The only two ways to come into compliance would be to shut down operations or to get a license from ABCA, which is not a overnight process. And I've told everybody that when I visit the location. I then issue the warning, and then I exit the establishment. When I was there issuing the warning, there was multiple different varieties of cannabis flower products, edibles. Department of Health and DOCP issued infractions against the location as well for that day. And then I exited the establishment. I did not return, even though the warning letter says 14 days. There was a time lapse based on the number of unlicensed businesses in the district. So I did not return to the business until July 23rd. So I visited on April 25th. According to council, they applied for a conditional, or they applied for a license on April 30th. I just want to clarify the record that during my visit, with the manager, I did, and maybe even Mr. Porter, I can't recollect our conversation verbatim. However, that location is not allowed to get a license because they're within 400 feet of another location. In fact, they're probably within 30, 40 feet, Doobie District. So because of that, and Doobie District was placarded back in December of 2023 because they applied as an unlicensed operator, which was the open application period from November to January. So Doobie District already had placards and were in the process with ABCA. So if they submitted the application after my visit and warning on April 30th, they could not, that location was not viable for a cannabis retail license because of Doobie District being within 400 feet per the statute. So when I returned on my next visit to the location on July 23rd, and I was informed then that they had applied for a conditional license for Mr. Porter via phone. I explained to Mr. Porter those exact things. I'm pretty consistent on my speeches that I give to everybody and education that I like to think that I give, educate on the laws in the district and the process without misleading to that the process is not overnight, and that applying does not allow you to continue to operate a business. Application is the beginning process of the period. So during that visit on July 23rd, once again, they did reveal that they continue to have product. They did remove the gummies as per health's guidelines after the first visit. However, they still had cannabis flower and cannabis products. And the manager basically, said that he thought they were good because they got rid of the edibles. I explained to him that this is reference to all cannabis products and unlicensed product, and that because in fact that they continue to sell, the progressive actions per the statute were warning, a cease and desist, and then potentially lead to a closure of a business and padlocking. That was explained to the manager and most likely Mr. Porter when I spoke to him on the phone. So I exited the establishment and then drafted a report for the board. I will make a correction to the record of my report that I've learned this morning is that there was a mix-up on the two applications. He only has so according to ABCA licensing, his conditional license that he was approved for was approved on August 14th, long after my even second visit and after the cease and desist. So he was approved August 14th for the conditional license, and received a letter from ABCA in reference to the conditional license and the terms of that conditional license, and what that letter he received from ABCA was on August 30th, saying that he was approved. And it also says, pursuant to the Medical Cannabis Amendment Act of 2022 and regulations set forth in Title 22C, a one-year conditional license has been issued to you as an applicant that does not currently have a proposed location. A conditional license, in bold, it says, does not permit you to purchase, possess, cultivate, manufacture, or sell medical cannabis or medical cannabis products. The conditional license requires you, within 1 year from the date of this board-approved letter, to submit to ABCA a lease or similar documentation, a security plan, 3, a C of O for the proposed location, 4, a permanent medical cannabis facility application, and 5, any remaining or additional licensed or endorsement fees owed to ABCA. So that was sent to him on August 30th. So I mentioned that to say is that my report does reflect, and correction to a record I would like to make, sir, is that I said that on Thursday, July 25th, that I confirmed with ABCA licensing that Mr. Porter had 2 pending social equity medical cannabis licenses. That is incorrect. He only had the 1 pending conditional license, and the 924 5th Street was not Mr. Porter. So I want to just correct that to my report as my mistake.
Now, Mr. Peru, when you wrote the report, were there exhibits attached?
Yes, sir. There were exhibits attached.
Are you able to share the exhibits with us today?
Yes, sir. Give me 1 second. Let me.
Mr. Charles, can you allow Mr. Peru to share his screen, please?
He is able, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. All right. So I need you to tell us what it is that go through the exhibits and show us what and explain to us what it is that we're seeing, sir. Okay.
Yes, sir. Trying to adjust it so it can be seen properly. So this exhibit this is the copy of the warning letter that was issued on Thursday, April 25th, by myself at 1528 U Street. That's exhibit. Scrolling down, this is the copy of the service form that was signed to his manager. Like I said, I for the record, his manager doing all visits was very cooperative and cooperative with the agencies and DC government when they were there. Mr. Wells signed the service of the warning letter. He was also present when I issued the cease and desist. Mr. Wells was, and both times he contacted Mr. Porter. Mr. Porter and I never met face to face. It's only been via phone. So these pictures and these exhibits. As we get to this picture here, this is from.
What is Exhibit 3? Tell me exactly what I'm looking at, sir.
Yeah, so this is when you walk into the location, there's a front of the store, front of the business, with desks and employees. That's where they're sitting. There's a back room. This is the back room that has display cases. I have a photo from the first visit that was not part of the report, being that the second visit is when it confirmed operation, which you see the photos here. So these photos here show a variety of cannabis display flower containers, which is commonly used by licensed and unlicensed locations. It's a magnifying glass on the top. The green top to it has a magnifier so that customers can view the flower up close. So that's what you're seeing here in exhibit number 3. As we scroll down to exhibit number 4, it's showing you another view of different type of pre-packaged products. You saw the loose flower there, and now you're seeing packaging of loose product with names on it. And
what are the names? What are the names?
The names here are Sprinkles, Blueberry. Hard to read exactly on that. Let me sorry. This is navigating photos in the Adobe is quite a tricky. Then you have NASA, Runts, Aerospace. Then you have Sprinkles, Cotton, Sprinkles, Candy, and then you have something Marshmallow. Then you have these dum-dums. Exhibit 5 would be the dum-dums. And the dum-dums, on the back of the dum-dums, Dank Mob packaging, it says this package contains marijuana, a Schedule 1 controlled substance. Keep out of reach of children and animals. Marijuana may only be possessed or consumed by a person 20 years of older unless the person is a qualified patient. Marijuana use while pregnant is breastfeeding may be harmful. Consumption of marijuana impairs your ability to drive and operate machinery. And that's the product that was viewed during that visit on July 23rd. That's all the exhibits in that particular report, sir.
All right, thank you. Now, let's go back to So, how many ounces? Like, I guess when you go back to the exhibit, did it state what the what's the ounce or how many grams the product contains? Was that located in the packaging?
Some of it's unclear with these packagings. Let me see. Yeah, it does. So 3.5 grams is the common number, also known as an eighth of cannabis flower. That's how it's packaged. And yes, the exhibit does show the marshmallows 3.5. All of them actually say 3.5 grams, sir, which is essentially is an eighth of cannabis flower.
Now, let's go back to in Exhibit 4. The packages. What were the weight of the packages in Exhibit 4?
Exhibit 4, yeah, I do not see the Exhibit 4, that exhibit, yeah, I don't have the front of it. I don't believe. I can check my actual files to see if I took a picture of the front, but the back, I took a picture of the rear because it clearly states that it's a Schedule 1 controlled substance and that it contains cannabis, and that's why I use that as an exhibit, sir.
All right, let's go back to Exhibit 3. How many boxes do you see in Exhibit 3?
Well, Exhibit 3, the packaging that's out on the counter, there's 3 packages there that's actually out.
I'm sorry. Repeat what you just said, sir.
So in exhibit 3, no, I'm sorry, exhibit 3, I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong exhibit. Yeah, exhibit 3, you can see this is how it looked when I walked in, right? Nothing at this point. I walked in, I snapped a picture from immediate view.
Let's go
And-
back to exhibit 3, please.
Yes, sir. I'm speaking of exhibit 3, sir.
No,
Exhibit-
I want you to share that on the screen.
Oh, okay. Okay, so exhibit 3, this photo here, you can see the flower up top. You can see the packaging I took pictures of up close. Everything was out sitting as such when I showed up there. And then you can see other packaging of product in this case here. And I could not tell you exactly what these items in this case are based on the photos that I took in this image. You can see, I mean, if even zooming in, it says whole melly. And so you can see if you read here, it says indica. It says the grams here on the bottom. So indica is a flower strain, right? Is a flower type. Sativa and indica are the two that you see
So
commonly. So
what are the weight of in the packages? Are you able to read that?
no, the way those packages weights. I mean, it says picture's unclear. I mean, it's hard to say if it says 2.5 or 3.5. It's unclear in these photos, sir.
Okay. So you can by the pictures you're unable to state what are the weights of the products that you took pictures of.
Yeah, I mean I'm unable to based on the packaging. Based on the packaging, I cannot say the weights. I mean, even you would have to. I mean, the packaging can be labeled as such, but then you'd have to physically weigh the packaging on a scale. These pictures of without opening.
I can't hear you, I can't hear you, sir. Or did I do something? I cannot hear you, Mr. Peru. Am I the only one having a problem hearing Mr. Peru?
I also can't hear.
We can't hear you, Mr. Peru.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Go ahead.
No. So what I was saying is the packaging. Any flour that's any prepackaged flour, you would have to open up the package and really weigh it to get a true accurate weight to see if the markings on the package is the same as what the product is stating. And once again, we did not seize or confiscate any of the product that day. Therefore, we could not have a true accurate weight. We did not do a closure. Therefore, product was not taken. A cease and desist for the operating and the selling of what was seen inside the establishment, sir.
All right. All right. Okay. Let me see if I have any other questions I want to ask you, Mr. Peru. Hold on. Let me see. I guess I just want to ask a question, Mr. Peru. What made you believe that the products that you observed in the store was cannabis? I mean, why were you able? What made you believe that it was? What happened to Mr. Peru? Mr. Peru. Mr. Short, Mr. Peru. Okay, Mr. Peru is rebooting his.
You called my name, Mr. Chair. Did you?
I didn't see you on the screen, sir. I just want to make sure you're there.
Thank you.
That's
Mr. Chairman, may we take a little 5 to 10 minute break? I'll just get some water and go to the bathroom too.
All
If
right.
okay.
All right, hold on. Let me. Can we finish with Mr. Peru and then?
Okay.
All right. Can we finish with Mr. Peru and then we'll take a break? I don't
Okay,
want
thank
to
you.
stop in it unless it's an emergency. Then I can
No,
stop.
it's not emergency. I was just thinking he was rebooting. So it's
Okay.
okay.
Yeah,
Please.
no,
All right.
sorry about that. My laptop just dropped on me and started rebooting for no reason.
Okay.
So here I am. Sorry.
All right. So, all right. I think the question I was asking Mr. Peru is, what makes you believe that the products that you saw was cannabis?
The markings on the packaging, the flower content, the appearance of the flower, the smell of the flower is indicative of cannabis flower. Everything about the packaging and the displayed images are known to be cannabis.
So, all right. So, what makes you believe that this particular store was operating as a retailer?
Well, they were at one point they were advertising, but the website is currently not online that I could find. And customers were coming in and leaving. Doing our visits, both visits, people were at the door being buzzed in, and then people were leaving out. There was a couple. I think the first visit had customers transactions being completed and then walking out with paper bags. We never when we enter these businesses, right, as a first, I call it the educational visit. As a first visit, we don't stop transactions in the middle of them occurring. We let customers finish up, and we let people leave the business. But then, while we're doing the inspection for safety procedures and protocol, we do not let anybody enter the business during our inspections. So MPD will secure the front door of the business to make sure nobody comes off the streets and enters. That's for safety reasons. But beyond that, activity was seen of customers leaving. Nobody was seen doing any of my visits leaving with a piece of art or anything else besides a package that contained unknown contents. I mean, I didn't stop anybody. I didn't look at anybody's bags. That's it admitted to that. But yes, sir.
Did you see like a cash register?
Yeah, well, they actually saw people. I saw cash. I saw the employee right in the front at the beginning. Right when you walk in, there were several desks. One of them, he had cash in his hand and counting cash. There was, they had a pretty good system that they had.
Did you see any prices?
No, I don't remember. I don't recall seeing prices.
I mean, do you see what type of what type of advertisement, if any, of the business did you see?
Well, I didn't see prices in the store at the time. Online, I can't testify and recall verbatim what I saw online. I put that on the record.
But did you see like any in the store, like any offers for discounts and anything like that? Any type inside the store?
Yeah, but I believe there was there was something about specials, I believe. I can't remember exactly what the specials were.
All right, if you don't remember, then that's fine.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, I knew that just because you're asking me, I know that they have social media presence, right? And they're on, they're on Instagram. They have on Instagram it's advertisements indicative of selling cannabis. Happy Monday, we smoke weed. Happy 420, Mass Ave, Weed DC. That's all on their Instagram social media platform. So that's there currently. That's the only thing I could find that's still up and running. There is a link to buy Mass Ave and with a menu, but when I get there, it kind of doesn't. You have to create a login and chat or send the email or message to schedule a pickup or orders is what it says on their website on that website. But there was no advertisement of product that I could see next to those social media things.
so during your visits, do you recall hearing anyone making statements identifying the products or stating that they were selling cannabis during any of your visits?
The manager never denied anything that they were selling. The manager was very, like I said, very cooperative. He thought that they were okay to do this, and then even after the second visit and the edibles were being removed, he thought because DO Health embargoed all the product and the edibles, he thought that they were fine to sell cannabis flower, and he even thought that the owner was I guess making moves in order to get a license, therefore which allowed them to continue to operate. I would like to add, I know I kind of stopped at my time frame, but they did mention the landlord. So the landlord did reach out to me after receiving the letter, and according to the landlord, they thought that the business was trying to get a medical cannabis retail license, hence the affidavit he spoke on, but they were not aware that they did not have a license. And that's where the landlord stated that they have now started actions against the business for violating the terms of the lease for operating an unlicensed business. So the landlord did reach out and did send me the same documents and letters that was sent to the applicant.
Now, are you familiar with the smell of cannabis, sir?
Yes, sir, I am. I've been to every district licensed grow in the city. I've been to every flower room that's licensed in the city, and I'm very versed on the smell of cannabis flower.
Now, during your visits to this particular established retailer, did you smell cannabis in the store?
Yes, sir.
Oh. And I want to go back to, well, you've already answered that. All right. Just one last thing. Did any of the products, I know that we went through your exhibits, and so did any of the products resemble regular candy, food, beverage, or snack item?
Oh, I mean, you saw the packaging, sir, in the pictures. I mean, obviously the pictures were definitely, the packaging was definitely kid friendly. If we have regulations on the licensed market that specifically identify types of packaging to be approved by ABCA, that packaging would not qualify as an approved packaging if they move forward with a license.
All right. All right. I don't have any other questions. Any questions by the board members? Go ahead, Mr. Short.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess still good morning, Mr. Investigator Peru.
Morning, sir.
Investigator Peru, can you explain by what authority and the number of persons and agencies that work along with you when you do your business for ABCA?
Yes, the law passed that gave ABCA the underlying authority to conduct inspections at unlicensed shops and to issue progressive discipline actions against these locations. I head up the multi-cannabis task force, which includes DLCP, which has the authority over the business license and C of O for the business, and Department of Health, which has any involvement with anybody selling any kind of food item, whether it's water or potato chips or adulterated food like infused cannabis products. So DC Health, their primary role in these inspections are referencing any kind of drinks, edibles, or anything that can be ingested, considered to be an edible or food product item, not to be sold, and they embargo those items. So Health did that during the first visit, like I stated, and DOCP issued infractions against the license not operating within the preview of the CO, and also for the trade name not being registered, apparently, according to DCLP documents that were provided to me for their NOI issue.
Okay, and also, approximately, if you can, how many legal medical cannabis establishments have you visited in Washington, D.C.?
I'm sorry, legal, sir, or illegal?
Legal.
Legal. I've been to all the current licensed establishments. As they open, I got to do pre-checks to them, and I conduct inspections at them on a regular basis. I believe we're up to, I should know this top of my head. It's either 11 or 12. I because we had a couple close and then some open. So I've been to all of them.
Okay, so that would give you a pretty good idea, or with your professional work that you do through ABCA, to be able to classify an illegal cannabis business versus a legal cannabis business. So at 1528 U Street, Northwest Washington, D.C., how would you classify that particular business, since you've been there on several occasions?
As an unlicensed cannabis retailer.
Thank you very much. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Grant.
Good morning, Inspector Peru. How are you?
Morning, good sir.
Good. So just a moment ago, Board Member Short talked a bit about the other products. Well, you both had a conversation about the other products that are ingestible, like foods and things of that nature. To the extent that you can you walk me through your observation process when there are other products that are on sale that are not ingestible, i.e., artwork or any other products that may be on site?
It depends. Every store is set up differently. This location has a very sterile front office, front retail, front area. Not a lot of retail and product out. There's, you can see in the pictures in those cases, there's obviously some type of artwork in those cases. And there is some nice big artwork paintings or pictures that I can recall in the facility, but this place did not have obvious retail areas, right? So some places you walk in, there's shirts and glass and other things besides any kind of cannabis or THC product. This place did not have that. So when we're going into a location like this, and like I said, they have the sales floor for the unlicensed product is hidden in the back, right? It's a back room. It's not in the front of the store. You have to walk all the way to the rear of the business to get to it. So it's not immediately accessible or seen when you walk into the main area. But a place like this, the first thing when we're looking at product that's on display in the case, everything is identifiable. Most things are identifiable to be either gummies, right? And you can feel the packaging, you can feel the gummies, whether it's mushroom gummies or THC gummies. Most edible items are pretty much labeled as such, and you can tell that they're a chocolate bar, or they're a gummy, or if they're a drink. So that it's pretty evident that that's what those items are, and that's where Health basically will ask the location, okay, well, just all the edibles you have. If it is, okay, great, get a box, put them in a box. If it's not, show me the other edibles that you have. And that's how Health embargoes that type of stuff. So after the first visit and the embargoment, based on the statute and the progressive actions that we're obligated to follow, the cannabis flower is not removed or placed into a box. Anything that's non-edible is allowed per se to remain on the sales floor.
But just to follow up, when you walk into an establishment, a part of your job is to notice, just for your own reporting purposes, other products that may be on sale.
Correct. Yeah, it's definitely to note if any items that or that are obvious for sale with
Okay.
in a retail space. Yes.
I think you kind of alluded to it, but just for clarity, was the artwork clearly noted for sale when you walked in?
I thought about that prior to this hearing, and I cannot recall any pricing on the artwork or anything that really advertised the sale of art. But I cannot recall that.
One last question along those lines. You did mention that there was at least one large piece of art, if not multiple large pieces that were clearly visible. Um, in your estimation, was the display of the art at the same magnitude of the display of the items behind the glass?
No, the I would say no based on the artwork, the large pieces that I recall seeing um would not be were a lot larger than the many of loose products and packaging that we saw.
Thank you for answering my questions. Mr. Chair, I have no further questions.
All right, thank you. Mr. Joe?
Can I request a little break for 5 to 10
Oh,
minutes, please?
okay. All right. Remember we have another hearing today, and I have a timeline. So, all right, it is 11:56. We're off the record until 12:10,
12:05 is good enough. 12:05.
12:05. So we're off the record until 12:05. All right.
Thank you,
Thank
Chairman.
you. You're welcome. We're back on the record. Mr. Jameson, can you remove the screen? Thank you. All right. You can go ahead, Mr. Joe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Peru, Investigator Peru.
Morning, sir.
Let me just start off. So, are you the sole investigator in ABCA right now that deals with cannabis?
I am the supervisor investigator that deals with cannabis, correct?
So how many stores, licensed and unlicensed this year would you say you have visited? Just rough number.
I visited over 100 and probably 10 unlicensed shops, and I visited 12 to 13 upcoming licensees or current licensees.
So you characterize that you yourself are pretty familiar with just cannabis industry in general and the DC cannabis industry specifically.
Correct. I've been doing the license shop since 2020 when we got the program.
Cool. Do you use cannabis yourself?
No.
Objection. That's irrelevant. Let's move on.
It goes to witness credibility.
Mr. Peru is a investigator in his job. Whether or not he utilized a product, sir, that's irrelevant. And let's move on. I'm not going to allow Mr. Peru to answer that question. Okay, let's move on.
No problem. It's okay. But let the record reflect that I said that would go to witness credibility. But so are you familiar with different strains of cannabis?
I'm familiar that different strains of cannabis exist, correct?
So for example, if I give you some examples, would you know they are? Like, for example, do you know sour diesel?
I've seen these brands and these different genetics and strains throughout my visits to locations.
Okay. Just a simple yes or no question. This is, have you heard of sour diesel?
Yes, it sounds familiar.
Have you heard of Purple Kush?
I have.
Have you heard of ACDC?
No.
Have you heard of Dash Diamond?
I've heard of something diamond that's white, but I don't know if that's the brand.
Okay, this is fair enough. Do you know that the ACDC I mentioned is actually a CBD strain that doesn't contain any THC?
And I said I wasn't familiar with it.
Thank you. Well, but if you say you are not familiar with this Dash Diamond, how did you listening report that this Dash Diamond contains THC?
There are so many brands on the market without testing a product. Admittingly so, like I stated in my testimony earlier, product was not taken and was not tested next to the packaging that says what it contains.
Right, the next type the packaging, what did it say for this Dash Diamond that you had in your report?
Which exhibit are you referring to, sir?
It's not in this exhibit. It's in the order to cease and desist section number 3 in the fact finding.
So is it part of my exhibit in the report that were the cease and desist report?
Yes, it should be on the report page number 2, I think. Is according to the citation in the order.
I didn't write the order. I wrote the report. The order came from the board.
Yes, I'm citing the report. It's a report number 24 ULC 00011. This should be on page 2. You cited Dash Diamond Sativa.
Let me see. Page 2. Exhibit 2 or page 2?
Page 2 of the report. Now exhibit.
What paragraph are we talking about, sir?
I don't have the report in front of me. I have the citation in the order.
You're referring to so I'm looking at, which I shared with you guys earlier, my report. In my report, I am not seeing. I am I am in the report and I'm looking at my report on page 2 that starts off with, on Tuesday, July 3rd, SI Peru returned to the unlicensed establishment. I have that. I do not see in that part of my report the reference you're referring to, sir. I'm sorry. So I cannot speak
Mr.
on
Joe, are
something.
you referring to the order, the paragraph 3 of the order that you objected to certain? Is that the same document you're talking about, sir?
No, I'm talking about the
Okay.
report because the section 3 in the order cites to the report, page 2, but that's okay. The report actually didn't mention that. I think one of the board member actually asked, but I just want to make sure again that you are familiar with cannabis smell.
I am.
Can you tell from the smell the difference between CBD and THC products?
No.
Yeah, but do you know that unadulterated and unflavored CBD products actually smells exactly like cannabis, like THC?
Sure. That
So you didn't actually test this product, Dash Diamond.
correct. Nothing was taken and tested. Correct.
Mhm. So, how did you come to the conclusion that it contains THC?
I still don't know what product you're referring to, sir. If it's not in my picture or an exhibit that I can refer to,
It doesn't have to be
I'm
that specific
well,
product, just
but no,
any
but you're
product.
asking me. No, I'm just sorry. You're asking me specifically about this Tosh Diamond. You keep mentioning this that I do not have any reference point to base it off of. So I don't know the packaging. I don't know where. Like I said, I cannot answer a question regarding a product that I am not aware of, sir.
Okay, thank you. That was good enough. So for other products in the store, how do you know they contain THC?
Well, most of them state that they contain THC, and they describe the indica or sativa strains of THC, which most times, it will say if it's hemp derivative, Delta 8, Delta 9, THCA. Most products packaging does list what you're referring to in reference to if it's a non THC or contains less than a certain amount, because you're referring to hemp, CBDs, and non THC less than percentage allowed product is what you're saying.
Yeah, so in the exhibit 3, if I remember correctly, there were 6 jars, right? Did those 6 jars mark THC on them?
Oh, 6 jars. Let me look back the exhibit, sir. Let me see what. As your question revealed, I go to a lot of places, so I cannot remember them all by,
That's okay.
by
That's okay.
by memory. I do not claim to have a perfect long memory looking at these products. One of them says daily special hybrid on it. One of them says sativa. It says $20 premium on it. So when I zoom in, thanks for pointing that out to me. When I zoom in, I do see prices on it. It says $20 premium hybrid. Cookies, indica, sativa. So it does, I don't see the word THC based on my images, but the language, as you stated earlier, is indicative of a cannabis THC flower.
So do you know there are also sativa CBD and indica CBDs?
I am aware. It's a different, yes, I am aware.
Right. So how can you just tell right now, right here, that those are THC sativa, THC indica instead of CBD sativa, CBD indica?
Without testing, there's no definite to say which type of, whether they're what you're saying or they're something else.
Thank you. Let's shift gear a little bit to the dum-dums. So the order size report, exhibit number 5, dum-dums mimicking a well-known and similarly named brand of candy. So I see you have a picture of that. So first question is not. Have you had dum-dum lollipops before?
Yeah, the small little lollipops.
Lollipop.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So you know like yeah, it's good. That's and so when you went into the store, you see this dumbed-down packaging. Did you pick the package up? Did,
I cannot remember where this product was laying or where in the store it was. If it was I'm looking at my photos um to see if it's let me see. Yeah, I can't tell by my photos where the packaging was. I cannot recall the location. I either I turned it over, so I did have to physically touch it to turn it over to take the picture, obviously. But I cannot exactly recall where it was recovered from
that's
or where
okay.
it was laying.
That's no problem. But do you do you remember at all when if you touch the package and then what the package feels like?
I do not remember.
Okay. Did you touch any of the other packages?
I cannot recall.
Okay. Um, Let me shift gear once more a little bit. Mr. Peru, I'm sorry, Investigator Peru, have you been to other like art galleries or art sales in DC in general?
You mean unlicensed cannabis facilities that also sell art or just art galleries?
Art galleries.
Yes, I have been to just art galleries that are not selling THC. Yes, sir.
So when you've been to these art galleries that sell art products, do you see those art galleries marking their art pieces with prices?
Sometimes there's a plaque underneath the art posted on the walls that does identify the price of art. Yes, sir.
So usually what are the price ranges for these arts?
The ones that I've been to, way out of my price league. Um, over thousands of dollars. The ones that I've seen and been to.
So you actually for some other art galleries that actually don't mark prices, it's actually more welcome in a way, right? Because you can inquire about price instead of actually saying, oh, I can't buy that.
I can't speak on what. Come on, I can't speak on art and what art gallery should or shouldn't look like or
That's
display.
that's fair
I'm
enough.
not an
That's
art
fair enough.
expert, sir. I am not.
That's fair enough. Yeah. So for the premise on 1528 U Street, have you inquired about the art prices when you were there as an investigator, or when other government employees were there?
I remember admiring some of the art that I thought it was some cool pictures. I do recall that. And I don't remember asking them prices, but their website has nothing about. I couldn't find any art prices on their website even. So, yeah.
Mhm. So what is the website URL that if you remember?
I don't have to remember it. I can tell you right now
Yeah, please,
if that's
please.
what we're referring to.
Yeah.
BUYMASC.com. BuyMASC.com. That's the art.
And it's currently down, right?
That's the website. No, the website is up. It's just
The website
not.
down?
It's just the showing the art and the products offering is not up.
Okay, no problem. And you also mentioned about um, the Instagram handles. So do you know the Instagram handle for the premise?
I can tell you, since you're bringing up the Instagram, that since
Yeah.
I brought up the Instagram, they have taken down photos that I originally noted. Since you're bringing it up, sir,
So what photos did you see on that before?
I read them out to the board. I can't. And they were the postings of Mass Weed DC on Mondays. Smoke weed. Happy 420 is what I read to the board earlier, sir.
What are the dates of those photos?
I cannot see that because they were now taken down.
Okay, okay. Um, so when you answered Mr. Grant's question, that you said there was not a lot of retail upfront and did not have an obvious retail area. Would you just please describe to me again how the premise looked like when you went there on July 23rd?
I mean, it's pretty clean and sterile. I mean, there's
Mhm.
I think maybe 2 or 3 desks set up. When you walk in, you got to be buzzed in at the door to come in. And there was, random big pictures of artwork that may be leaning against the wall on the floor. Yeah, and then you walk through the space. It's kind of, typical DC style row home. You come into the front, you walk through, and then in the very back is where the cannabis shop was.
Okay, so was the back room open to public? Was the door open?
I cannot recall if it was open or the manager opened it for me. I cannot recall.
Did you ask the manager for permission to go into the back room?
I cannot recall if the manager opened. If I went to the back room, it's the manager opened it for me. If the door was open, I'm doing an inspection of the premises, then I probably just walked in.
So you did not ask for permission?
If the door was open and I'm doing an inspection of a licensed or unlicensed business in the District of Columbia, then walking through the premises to identify if cannabis is present is what all the agencies do, including DLCP and Department of Health. So I did not ask. I cannot recall the conversation I had with the cooperative manager that day.
Okay, no problem. So let's say if the door was open, was it readily apparent that you could see cannabis or anything like THC, CBD, whatever it is, the green leafy substance in the back room?
Oh yeah, I mean, you saw the display case. I have photos from the display case during the first day. If you want me to display those, I'm more than happy to share. But those photos are very, very different than my July 23rd visit. The July 23rd visit, when those photos are from, my second visit, admittedly so, a lot of product was removed from the display case. What you see in those photos is all I saw on display, sir.
Let me rephrase the question a little bit. I'm sorry that I probably didn't ask it clearly. It was actually I meant that before you entered into the back room, was it readily apparent that while you were in the retail area, you could see the green leafy substance in the back room?
No, it's very discreet. You had to go to that room to see that. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, let me shift gear a little bit to the conversation you had with my clients. So why did you tell my client that getting a license will get him out of trouble?
Never. I can say never pretty confidently. Those words used, getting out of trouble. What I said was that this is you have 2 options in order to be in compliance. 1 is to get a license, and 2 is to shut down. I also most likely told your client in conversation that if he would have applied during the unlicensed period, like Doobie District did, who is now blocking him from being able to stay at that location, that Doobie District, per the statute, was given a safe haven clause put in for any kind of enforcement actions from ABCA until such times. I most likely told your client that as well. Telling your, and I'm certain, even if your client told me he applied for a conditional license or had a conditional license, I would tell him that does not allow him to continue to sell cannabis products, sir.
Thank you. So you told my client that he can now continue to occupy the location because there's another pending location within 400 right next door, right?
That's not the words I used. I said that he could not get a cannabis retail license for that location because he's within 400 feet of another already placarded license in the license process business. So that location received placards from us back in December of 2023.
Did you inform my client that he could actually get an internet retail license, which doesn't consider the 400 feet rule?
You know what? I like to think I give people a lot of education about and give them opportunities to find ways to be able to stay in their space. I may have mentioned an internet license to him, possibly.
Okay, that's no problem. Okay. So let's go back to the green leafy substance for a little bit too. So in the exhibit 3, you see there are 6 jars, right?
Sure. Let me open up that back up, sir, just to see what we're talking about here. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 jars which appear to have a green leafy substance inside. Yes, sir.
And you said each jar contains how much weight?
Oh, I never spoke on the jar. I can how much weight's in the jar. I was referring to packaging. The jars are for display purposes only, so I don't think the weight in those jars are relevant. The packaging talks about
Okay.
3.5 grams, which is equal to an eighth of cannabis flower.
And how many packages did you see that were there?
Visibly, those photos describe my snapshot of what I saw when I walked to that back room. I did not go through any storage, the storage area that was next to it. DC Health confirmed that the embargoed products were not back on display, but we did not search the premises or go into any other areas where the rest of the packaging may occur or may be stored. Obviously, it would be reasonable for me to think that if there's cannabis flower on display in 6 jars with a magnifier, letting the customer see the flower and decide which flower they want, that once they decide which strain or flower they want, that then they would retrieve the prepackaged flower and then be provided to the client. So what I saw is what you see in the photo, sir.
Okay. So did you weigh any of the package?
We did not seize anything, so nothing was weighed.
Okay. So there is no reasonable way to say that there were more than 2 ounces of green leafy substance on the premise.
Well, I'm no math genius. We'd have to bring out a calculator and divide up how many packages are there and every box that we see there to really talk about. But I'm going to say there was definitely more than 2 ounces on the premises.
How did you come to that conclusion? Your exhibit only shows 3 packages. Well, I'm not a math genius, but 16 packages equal to 2 ounces. Or you only had, let's assume that even they are 3.5 grams, but you only have 3 packages in your exhibit.
Well, that's not true. If you look at my exhibit on the right side in that display case, there's a number of other packages and boxes that could contain pre-rolls or cigarettes. So and the jars up top on the right-hand side that are some other kind of product. I mean, it's impossible to look at this photo and say for any of us to come up with a accurate number or even a presumed number of what the weight would be. But based on my experience of actually seizing and weighing product, and based on my experience of seeing and weighing product and watching them weigh product at flower at licensed facilities, that total amount would equal to most likely over 2 ounces.
I think you mentioned that you actually did not even pick up the dum-dum package, right?
I can't recall. I think if I took a picture of it, I maybe position it to where the light could actually see it and take a picture. I cannot recall that.
So if you didn't touch them, how do you know other packages have cannabis or any green leafy substance in them?
The packages were not flat and did not appear to be just packaging. They contained something inside the package. That's evident. I think even in the photos you can tell that it's not flat, completely flat.
Okay, no problem. Well, let's shift gear again. Let's talk about enforcement and so well, how I think you mentioned that you've been to 100 some stores right now, right?
Approximately.
Okay. Are you familiar with this store with the name of Yana Wellness?
I'm not going to discuss, Mr. Chair, any other licensed establishments besides the one that we're talking about today. I have open investigations and pending investigations. I'm not going to speak on.
All right, Mr. Yo, why is this, Joe? Why is this relevant to this establishment?
It goes to witness bias.
What do you mean witness bias? We haven't proved. I mean, this is about a cease and desist issued for this particular establishment, and I don't say it's relevant. You're asking him about another establishment that you have not proven or shown any relationship between this establishment and the establishment that you are about to ask him about. So I'm not going to allow that questioning unless you can show me some nexus between this establishment and the one you're questioning, because this is not, and again, this is cross-examination. So I mean, there you have not proven or shown that this witness is there's been no question to show bias, so I'm not quite sure where this question is coming from.
I also witness bias through how Mr. Peru interacted with Dai store compared to how Mr. Peru interacted with the premise on 1528 U Street Northwest.
I'm not going to allow that to happen. I mean, I think that one thing that Mr. Peru has put on in evidence this entire time, he has stated that in his dealing with the management at this establishment, that the management was very cooperative. It was a pleasant experience. So I'm not I'm not going to allow that, because I mean, if I think if there was testimony about hostility, maybe, but based on one of the things that Mr. Peru has done through his entire testimony today is that he talked about how cooperative, how pleasant his visit with the manager of this establishment has been. So I'm not going to allow that question. Let's move on, sir.
Let me cite this again. The DC Administrative Procedure Act as the mayor and every agency shall exclude irrelevant, immaterial, unduly repetitive evidence, but the relevant evidence standards defined by case law in DC by Foreman v. U.S. DC Court of Appeals case in the reporter of 792 Atlantic 2D 1043, it says that relevant evidence means any evidence having any tendency to make the existence of any fact that is of consequence more or less probable than it would be without the evidence. Just let the record reflect that. Chairman insists now. Letting me go on this line of questioning. I'll stop there. So
you can put your
Mr.
objection in for the record, but we can move in. Go ahead. We can move on.
Yeah, just put that in the record. It's a preserve on appeal. So, and for let's see. So Mr. Peru, as the investigator for ABCA, I guess your main focus is on retail right now. I presume, right?
Retail as opposed to that's not no we
to cultivation, to manufacturing.
Correct. I have licensed manufacturing and licensed cultivation centers have been visited by myself as well, and newly businesses that have applied for manufacturing licenses have been I have conducted pre-inspections at as well. Correct.
So the order here, even though it is in the part of finding of fact, the order stated that there is no indication that a product's being displayed conform with Chapter 16B and associated regulations of manufacturing, testing, labeling, and packaging requirements. So would you say you are fairly familiar with the packaging requirements in Chapter 16B and also Regulation 22C?
Fairly familiar.
Fairly. So what are the only two colors allowed on packaging in a licensed, fully legal cannabis shop?
Did you say colors?
Yes. What colors? There are two colors that are allowed. Only two.
Oh, I'm not aware of that. So see, go ahead, sir. You can help me.
Black and white. Okay. What is the maximum amount of THC that an edible package can contain?
We're talking about edibles now. Edibles?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not top of my head. I'm unaware.
500 milligrams. So, in a way, how did you make? If you're not familiar with these statutes, they're not even in regulation. How did you come to the conclusion that Chapter 1528 U Street does not conform with the labeling and packaging requirements of Chapter 16B?
I think I stated that earlier, reference to the cartoon-like images of the packaging. That would be indicative of a children type of candy.
All right. And let's see. Okay, my last question, last line of questioning. I'm sorry. Goes to you mentioned you saw employee there counting cash, right?
Yes.
Did you see any cash transaction with the green leafy substance that you refer to?
No, I stated that there was customers in the store doing voice visits, either exiting or finishing up transactions inside, and that then left with a brown paper bag or a bag of some sort. That's what I stated.
Mm, so I'm sorry, just give me 1 second. Also, this is actually one of the last line of questioning. So you are familiar with the I-71 law in DC, right? It's codified in chapter 48. No, title 48 in DC laws, in DC code.
The recreational law, I-71, yes, sir.
Yeah, so you know that each adult can possess up to 2 ounces of cannabis without criminal penalty.
Correct.
How many on July 23rd? How many adults were on the premise?
I know for certain 2. I can't remember if the third guy was there that day.
So, you said there were 3, or
I know for sure 2. I can't remember if there was
sure. So
one of my
actually,
visits there was 3, so 2.
okay,
Let's go with 2 because
Okay,
I can identify 2, the manager and the other individual who was there, both visits.
okay. But like I said, you didn't weigh the products. So how did you know there were more than 4 ounces of green leafy substance on the premise?
I stated that I did not know, but this is a commercial building and not a personal home or residential or personal possession on public space. This was in a commercial space, and I'm not aware. I'm without measurement, sir. Once again, I can't I can't speak on these ounces that you're referring to.
All right, that's good enough. No more questioning, Your Honor. Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. All right, let me see. I have just a few follow-up questions, Mr. Peru, and then you're free to go. Hold on. Mr. Peru, there was a lot of conversation regarding CBD earlier. Isn't it correct that CBD is deemed cannabis in the District of Columbia?
It is correct, sir.
Regarding the Dum Dum, do you recall if the label on the Dum Dum states that it contains marijuana and that this might impair driving? Do you recall?
Sir, I read it verbatim, sir, on record. I can read it again if you would like. It does say
Yeah,
that it
please do.
contains. Yes, sir, I can do that for you. It says government warning, and it has
You're reading from the label on the Dum Dum, sir. Is that?
Yes, sir. I'm reading from the label on a Dum Dum, which is the exhibit in my report. It has the California little triangle, cannabis exclamation point on the bottom, and then it states the following. Exhibit number 5. It states the following. Government warning. This package contains marijuana, a Scheduled 1 controlled substance. Keep out of reach of children and animals. Marijuana may only be possessed or consumed by a person 21 years of age or older unless the person is a qualified patient. Marijuana use while pregnant or breastfeeding may be harmful. Consumption of marijuana impairs your ability to drive and operate machinery. Please use extreme caution. And just for the record, most times CBD is not considered a Schedule 1 substance. Most CBD and hemp farmers and individuals would not consider CBD a Schedule 1 substance either.
All right. Now, do you know if CBD is known to cause intoxication?
CBD is a derivative of the cannabis plant that has different types of effects compared to THC itself.
So do you know whether or not it can cause intoxication? If you don't know, you cannot.
No, I wouldn't want to speak on scientific or doctor type things, sir.
Do you know whether or not THC is known to cause intoxication?
Yes, that THC is known to affect the person's brain directly.
Oh. All right. Any other questions by any board members? All right. Mr. Peru, thank you. Any questions? All right. Mr. Peru, thank you very much for your testimony. Don't go too far because
I won't.
we have another hearing.
I'll see you.
All
I'll
right.
see you then.
All right. Well, thank you very much. All right. So the board doesn't have any other witness. Mr. Joe, this is your hearing. You have the last say, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, for my last closing, I'll just keep it very short. So in the end, we want to reiterate that I strongly request the ABCA board to dismiss the cease and desist order because one, there's no substantial evidence to prove that there was THC on premise. And second, there was no substantial evidence to prove that there was any edible product on premise. And third, I want to also say that the board made a legal conclusion in its finding of facts about the premises compliance with Chapter 16B. The board also made a factual error as to the application status and the application that 28 U Street Northwest requested. And I think for the foregoing reason, the cease and desist order should be dismissed, and while I preserve all the issues I mentioned in cross-examination on appeal.
Thank you, sir. All right, so I bring this matter to closure. As chairperson of the Alcoholic Beverage and Cannabis Board for the District of Columbia, and in accordance with DC Official Code Section 2575 of the Open Meetings Act, I move that ABC Board hold a closed meeting for the purpose of seeking legal advice from our counsel on case number 24 ULC 00011, Metro Art and Sculpt Collaborative LLC, pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2575B4A of the Open Meetings Act, and deliberated upon case number 24 ULC 00011, Metro Art and Sculpt Collaborative LLC, for the reasons cited in DC Official Code Section 2575B13 of the Open Meetings Act. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short has seconded the motion. I will now take a roll call vote on the motion before us now that it's been seconded. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Grant.
Mr. Grant, I agree.
As it appears, Mr. Anderson, I agree. As it appears that the motion has passed, I hereby give notice that the ABC Board will recess its proceedings to hold a closed meeting pursuant to Section 2575 of the Open Meetings Act. Mr. Joe, thank you very much for your presentation today. Mr. Porter, thank you for appearing today. The board will make a decision on whether or not we will lift the cease and desist. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Mr. Joe, how much time do you need, sir?
I can go right away. The next one should be very easy.
All right, so if you're ready, we'll call the other case. All right. Okay, so we will call the other case. So our next case on our calendar, it's another cease and desist, case number 24 ULC 00020, District Tobacco and Cigars. This is a request for an expedited hearing on board order number 2024-619. Is there a witness, Mr. Joe, for us to who's available?
No.
I'm sorry?
No, there's no witness for this.
Okay, so you are the. All right, hold on 1 minute, please. All right. And all right, so hold on a minute. So, Mr. Joe, who do you represent in this case, sir?
I mean, give me 1 second.
I'm asking, do you represent the licensed, the unlicensed The unlicensed individual, do you represent the landlord? I'm just trying to clarify that.
Oh,
So
yeah, I represent Gauss Loinab LLC, trading as District Tobacco and Cigars.
so you represent the person who owns the lease, not the landlord.
We yeah, we can say that for now. Yeah.
No. This is what I need to find out, sir. I've been serious. I want to make sure. Are you representing the landlord or are you representing the business owner? And I need to clarify that.
I'm representing the business owner. That we can say that. Yes.
And that's all I need. Okay, that's all because as you're aware, we serve a cease and desist on both the business owner and the landlord, and so I just need to clarify for the record, who is the person who's making, who is requesting this hearing today. All right, so in this particular case, what is your what representation do you have to provide for why the board should lift its cease and desist order, sir?
Yes, so the cease and desist in this case is actually moot because I submitted two documented evidence yesterday. One is the lease assignment, and the other is the landlord consent to lease. So back on May 23rd, 2024, District Tobacco and Cigars, we actually assigned our lease to another business in the name of Malik Express. It's a Maryland corporation, so we are actually not operating on the premise anymore.
So you're saying as of what date is District
As of May
Tobacco?
23rd.
May 20 what?
May 23rd, 2024.
So as of May 23rd, 2024, you're saying District Tobacco and Cigars is no longer operating at 3236 Prospect Street Northwest. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you represent G House Leonard LLC. That's who you represent, sir?
Yes.
Do you have any other representation you want to make regarding District Tobacco and Cigars, sir?
No, that's all.
All right, Mr. All right. Hold on. I know that Mr. Peru that you have something to say, so but I need to make sure that I have my paperwork. Mr. Joe has to make his presentation first, and then I need to pull my paperwork so I can make some semblance of where we are. Okay. Before I call, okay. No, let me before I move on, Mr. Joe. Before, who's the owner of okay, hold on. I have too many papers, so hold on 1 minute, please.
Yeah.
Who is the owner of District Tobacco and Cigars?
It is it's actually wrong on the cease and desist order. It is actually an entity by it's actually individual by the name of Ahmed Gauss Loinab.
Can you spell that for the record? Come on, Mr. Joe. You know you got to spell that for the record for the court reporter.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just like it's AHMAD GHOUSE LOYNAB.
Thank you, sir. All right. So you're saying that is the owner of District Tobacco and Cigars.
Yes.
Now, you provided us this morning. Well, I saw that you provided us a lease. So you want us to you want that to move that into evidence?
I think I provided this last night actually.
Well, I just saw it today, so that's what I just want to
Yeah,
make sure.
yes,
All right, hold
yes,
on.
yes.
So,
It's a lease assignment and the consent form by the landlord to consent to the assignment.
all right, hold on a minute. Okay, hold on. Let me try to find it just to see when this was. Okay, so you present this. Let's see. So this is on March 23rd.
I think May 23rd.
I'm sorry, May 23rd. So Mr. Zoe, do you know whether or not there is an illegal relationship between Mr. Lonab, Loynab, and Mr. Hassim, Hashimzia? Do you know if there's an illegal relationship between the two and those two individuals, sir?
You mean there's a legal relationship?
I'm asking you if you know if there's an illegal relationship between District Tobacco LLC, who was the original tenant, and Mr. Hassim V, who is
No, the
now
only
the current tenant.
no, the only relationship or privity we have is this lease assignment. Other than that, the two entities, the two persons don't have any other business transaction.
So your representation is that there is no legal relationship. To the best of your knowledge, there's no legal relationship between the two entities.
Zero, except this lease assignment.
Okay. Now, do you represent the new Mr. Mr. Zia?
No, I don't.
And do you have any familiarity with the business model of this new entity?
I have no idea. When they took over the lease from us, they told us that they will make it into a taco stand, but that's all I know.
No. And again, as an attorney, you're an attorney, so only making representation. I'm putting that for the record. So I give that to you, Mr. Joe. Okay.
Yeah. This, like I said, I thought this should be easy. This one because we are literally not there anymore. So
Well, I think when the board saw both cases, the board, at least we thought the first case would be short and this case would be long. So, but again, you've made that. All right. Okay. Let me see if I have any other questions regarding that to ask. Okay. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on.
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to quickly say that Mr. Porter's rights are still elevated.
I'm about to talk to Mr. Jameson. Um, I'm sorry, I meant Mr. Charles. I'm waiting on you, Mr. Charles. All right. Okay. Let me see. Does that? All right. Mr. Peru, can you raise your right hand, please? Mr. Peru, can you raise your right hand? Do you state or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Can you state your name for the record, please, and spell your name?
Supervisory Investigator Jason Peru, JASONPERU.
And where do you currently employ, sir?
With the Alcoholic Beverage and Cannabis Administration in Washington, D.C., where I conduct inspections of licensed and unlicensed cannabis shops in the district.
How are you familiar with this establishment, sir? District Tobacco and Cigars.
So once again, they're on a list of locations to be visited in the district. I guess based on what I just wanted to confirm that me and the attorney do agree on this, that I am aware that the original owner during my first visits has sold the property, sold the business. When I went to serve the cease and desist order from the board, a new owner was present with his family, and he told me that he had purchased the business from Mr. Gauss, and stated that he purchased what he thought was a licensed cannabis business and tobacco shop, is what he told me. So I served him the cease and desist order, and I informed him of the progressive actions against that address and that business. Um, and he provided me no documentation besides his verbal statement that, in fact, he had purchased the business from Mr. Gauss. So I do have knowledge of that business being transferred or sold.
So when was the last time? So when was the last time you were at this location? When was the last time were you at the location at 3236 Prospect Street Northwest?
I was last there when I served at 3236 Prospect Street. When I served the board issued cease and desist order, which was on Wednesday, or the board was issued. It was issued on Wednesday, August 14th. I served it on August 15th, is when I went back to the establishment. And when I went there to serve it at that point in time, it was a new face, new owner, new individual who represented himself as the new owner of the business. But they
Go
still
ahead.
I'm sorry, but he still had cannabis product, because he said he was not aware of the prior actions, because how could he be if I didn't issue them directly to him? He wasn't aware that he could not sell any of the products. So he did have edibles and flour on display when I served the cease and desist to that location and that address. It's just he informed me that he wasn't aware of any of that stuff, because he thought he bought a business with had a license to sell all that. So that's all I got from him. I served him the cease and desist, and I exited the establishment. He took everything out of the cabinets off the shelves when I was there, and that was my last transaction there.
Um, I'm gonna go into executive session for a minute. Hold on a minute, please. All right. As chairperson of the Alcoholic Beverage and Cannabis Board for the District of Columbia, and in accordance with DC Official Code Section 2-575 of the Open Meetings Act, I move that the ABC Board hold a closed meeting for the purpose of seeking legal advice from our counsel on case number 24 ULC 00020, District Tobacco and Cigars, pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2575B4A of the Open Meetings Act. Is there a second?
Mr. Grant, I second the motion.
Mr. Grant has seconded the motion. I'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Short,
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Grant,
Mr. Grant, I agree.
and Mr. Anderson, I agree. We're going to go into executive session. So we're going to log off. You stay there, Mr. Zoe, and I'll ask all board members to log into executive session. We'll be right back. Okay? Thank you. All right. We're back on the record. All right. Yeah, we're back on the record. The board went into executive session because I had some legal concerns that I needed to address with our legal attorney. So now we are back on the record. Where's Mr. Peru?
I'm here, sir.
Okay. Let me ask you, Mr. Peru, you said that when you went to serve the cease and desist, you saw a new owner of the facility. Is that correct?
An individual who identified himself as the new owner. Yes, he was very reluctant at first. I thought he was a worker, but he said that he had purchased the business and what he thought to be a licensed business from Mr. Gauss.
And who was that? Who was the individual that you recall the name of this new owner?
I would have to. I believe I have the hard copy in my I have the hard copy of the signed signed the paperwork.
No, that's fine. You don't need to.
What's his name on it?
All right. What conversations, if any, did you have with this new owner regarding the business?
I explained to him the cease and desist and why it was being issued. I explained to him the past actions taken, the warning that occurred, a revisit that showed that they continued to sell product, and then which led to now this actions of a cease and desist. I explained to him that he could no longer sell any kind of cannabis or unlicensed product, mushrooms, gummies, or anything else. He said he understood, and as I was there, he removed everything from the cabinets. I have not been back since that visit.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Any questions of Mr. Peru by any board members? Go ahead, Mr. Short.
Yes, Investigator Peru. At any time, have you had any contact with the owner of this business, Prospect Street, Prospect?
Which owner, sir? The owner that was served the paperwork?
Did we serve paperwork on the owner of the Prospect Street property?
Yes, sir. That's what when I served the cease and desist, the individual different than the individual that was owner of my first two visits identified himself as the owner. He received the cease and desist order from me, and I explained, and he signed for the cease and desist order, and I explained to him what why I was serving that cease and desist against that property and that business.
My question is, was this new person the owner of the building? Is he the landlord?
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. No, he was not. He did not own the building.
Okay. Do you think that if we serve the landlord, we can make sure that nobody else comes in there thinking that they have a legal business? Because the landlord is going to try to keep leasing because he wants money.
I
But
believe
the landlord needs to know that there has been an illegal business there which transferred to another illegal business, and that the landlord needs to know he needs to do something about those tenants because we don't want illegal substances sold out of there anymore.
Yes, sir. A warning letter was sent to the landlord of the building, sir, following the cease and desist.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Any other questions by any of the board members? Mr. Joe, do you have any questions of Mr. Peru?
Yeah. Mr. Peru, do you remember this name, Hashim Zia?
You know, when you said it, I tried to pull it from my mind, but I'd have to look at the documents because I cannot recall. I cannot. That may be him, but I cannot recall 100%.
That's all right. That's okay. Let's just go with the documents then. That's it. Thank you.
Is that the only question that you have, Mr. Joe?
Yeah.
All right. All right, Mr. Joe. I guess prior to you closing, I guess because you represent the previous owner of the property, are you contesting the facts of the case as listed in the cease and desist order? As in the cease and desist, are you contesting? Is your client contesting the facts?
No. I mean, we have no knowledge, so there's
No,
no
no,
way for us to contact.
no. I'm talking about the facts that was presented that the agency issued a cease and desist based on what Mr. Peru um had previously seen. And so I guess what I'm asking you, are you contesting the facts? Is your client contesting the facts in the cease and desist order?
We don't.
All right. Now, is it your representation that that your client is no longer the owner of the business at 3236 Prospect Street Northwest? Is that correct?
Correct. We're no longer there.
And is it your representation that, to the best of your knowledge, there is no legal relationship between District Tobacco and Cigars and the current owner of the occupant of 3236 Prospect Street Northwest? Is that correct?
That's correct. We have no legal relationship between us except for the lease assignment.
And it's your representation that that your client has abandoned this location, and that, to the best of your knowledge, that they don't have an intent to come back to run this business.
Correct. We're no longer there and will not come back.
As I said, you as an attorney, I'm asking you you can only represent what it is that you are aware, and that's one of the reasons why I ask the questions that way. All right. Any other representation that you need to make, sir, before we bring this matter to closure?
No, but I just want to ask a question. So, like, for future reference for this type of case, can I just email someone, say like, oh, you sent it to the wrong person, instead of doing all this?
But I think you sent in a lease assignment, Mr. Joe. I don't
Yeah.
think that anyone in the agency, or at least our legal office, was not aware of. There was no context provided. So maybe if you had provided a context, maybe if you had written something to say this is a state, maybe I would have had more guidance, because prior
Okay.
to your representation at the beginning of this hearing, at least the board, maybe Mr. Peru was aware, but I know as board chair, and I can only speak to myself, as board chair, in preparing for this hearing, I had no knowledge that District Tobacco and Cigars was no longer in business at 3236 Prospect Street Northwest. I can only speak for myself. So prior to your representation, I was not aware of that fact. I had seen the documents that you provided. However, they were not provided with any memorandum to state this is this is where we are today. That district, that as of May 23rd, District I'm sorry, District Tobacco and Cigars had abandoned the business and they had negotiated with the landlord to assign the lease to someone else, and so to a separate entity, and so therefore they are no longer in business that District Tobacco and Cigars is no longer in business operating this entity at 3236 Prospect Street Northwest.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
So
Next time I'll send email with memo, because yeah.
that would be helpful, sir. So therefore, maybe we would have not have had this hearing today, but I don't know what it is. So we will the documents you provide. You could have basically filed a motion to have told us to say you ask us to dismiss the cease and desist because your client has abandoned the business, and that they are no longer the owner of the business, and that there is no legal relationship between the new owner and the new business and the current occupant of the space. So that in the future, that would help. Um, the board
Thank you.
will.
Thank you for the guidance.
Thank you. I mean, the board will take. So I guess let me ask you a question. Would you consent to a stay of the decision if the board wants to investigate this further, like the ownership? Would you consent to some? Would you consent to a stay of this decision if the board wants to investigate a little bit further the ownership um, um, before we vote to lift or maintain the cease and desist?
Yes, absolutely. Please send me any requests for any document that we might have to help your decision.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. As chairperson of the Alcohol, Beverage, and Cannabis Board
Mr.
for the
Chairman?
district. I'm sorry, yes, Mr. Short.
Sorry, I'd just like to ask Investigator Peru if he would kind of just keep an eye on that property. That is Georgetown, and it's right there at K Street at the bridge under the Orders Freeway. That property is, and I would venture to say there's probably not a lot of cannabis stores in that area, and it's probably a hot spot. And also in light of the new person who got duped or allegedly got duped, walked away with all their illegal product. Is that right, Mr. Peru?
The
New owner, the alleged new owner who went in at 3236 Prospect took all of the product off of the shelf while you were there.
correct, he removed it, yes.
Okay. Now, who's to say what he's going to do with that product? I mean, he's going to lose a lot of money unless he can find somebody else to sell it to or try to. But at any rate, as long as I know you're monitoring the situation, Mr. Peru, I feel a lot better. That's all I really had to say, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir, Mr. Short, let me just tell you that every location that's been issued a cease and desist will be revisited at some point to see if they continued operations.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. As chairperson of the Alcohol,
I
Beverage, and
just-
Cannabis. Who's speaking? Mr. You want to say, Mr. Joe?
Yeah, I just want to add one thing on the record before we all go. I just want to protest the characterization that the new owner was duped. I want to say on this record that the new owner told us they will open a taco shop, and in the lease, we clearly said the new owner will be responsible for government licensing and everything. He knew everything. I just want to protest that characterization.
Thank you for the representation that you made, Mr. Joe. All right. All right. As chairperson of the Alcoholic Beverage and Cannabis Board for the District of Columbia, in accordance with DC Official Code Section 2575 of the Open Meetings Act, I move that ABC Board hold a closed meeting for the purpose of seeking legal advice from our counsel on case number 24 ULC 00020 District Tobacco and Cigars, pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2575B4A of the Open Meetings Act, and deliberating upon case number 24 ULC 00020 District Tobacco and Cigars for the reasons cited in DC Official Code Section 2575B13 of the Open Meetings Act. Is there a second?
Mr. Grant, I second the motion.
Mr. Grant has seconded the motion. We'll now have a roll call vote. Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Grant.
Mr. Grant, I agree.
And Mr. Anderson, I agree. As it appears that the motion has passed, I hereby give notice that ABC Board will recess its proceedings to hold a closed meeting pursuant to Section 2575 of the Open Meetings Act. Mr. Joe, thank you very much for your participation today, and we will advise you of the decision that the board makes once a decision is made. Okay, sir? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the board members, and thank you, Mr. Peru.
Thank you very. All right. Have a great day. I want the board to hold on 1 minute, sir. The board. I guess I need to close the hearing for the day. As chairperson of the Alcohol Beverage and Cannabis Board for the District of Columbia, and in accordance with Title III, Chapter 405, Office of Open Government, I move that ABC Board hold a closed meeting on September 25th for the purpose of discussing and hearing reports concerning ongoing or planned investigations of alleged criminal or civil misconduct or violations of law or regulations, and seeking legal advice from our legal counsel on the board's investigative agenda, legal agenda, and licensing agenda for September 25th, as published in the DC Register on September 20th. Is there a second?
Mr. Short, I second.
Mr. Short has seconded the motion. As it appears that the motion, Mr. Short.
Mr. Short, I agree.
Mr. Grant.
Mr. Grant, I agree.
Mr. Anderson, I agree. As it appears that the motion has passed, I hereby give notice that ABC Board will hold this closed meeting. Pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, notice will also be posted on the ABC Board Hearing Room Bulletin Board, placed on electronic calendar and ABCA's website, and published in the DC Register in as timely a manner as practical. We are adjourned for the day. I would like to thank all members of the public who participated in our hearings today, and also the members of the board who participated in our hearings today. We're now adjourned, and I ask all board members to return to executive session. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.